Welcome to The Lead Word. This is your host, Chad Bauman. With me is, as always, Trey Daubert. But we do have a special guest, Bryan the Man Tann.
Going
Bryan on
on
the show.
What's going on, Tannimals? You get me again. You got me again. You can't get rid of Bryan Tann.
I wanted Bryan on the show because I mesh with Bryan. I love Bryan. He's got his pop culture references. I'm right there all the time. So had to get Bryan on the show. Before we get into the lead word of it all, I do want to go ahead and shout out to the last show that Bryan did. Well, not the last show, I don't think, but one of the more recent shows. I'll just say that. It was
because I had three out there. I did three last week.
Yeah, it was an interview that he did with, I can't remember.
Sean Gibson, the great
from
grandson
the Josh Gibson Foundation.
Yep, the great grandson of the legendary Josh Gibson. Hashtag JG20 MVP. Yes, sir.
Yep, I wanted to shout that out because that was an awesome show. It was something, especially with this being, well, now it's Wednesday, but Monday being Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it was a big deal. It was a big deal for us, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Go check out that show if you haven't seen it already. I guess we can put the link in there for that. Make sure we do that.
Once I can create posts again, I'll put the link in. Yeah. Unbelievably stressed. Never ends. The work never ends.
Well, that's what happens when you build an empire, man.
All right, let's get into the games this week. Most of the time we just do a couple takeaways each, and then we'll preview the conference championship games. Bryan, is there anything that stood out to you from the games in the divisional round?
Oh my goodness. For one, now on the Tanndemonium Sports Show, I was the lone person on the show that said that the Browns could possibly pull it out, and they almost did. Problem is, when you've got a team that's used to winning, you can throw adversity at them and they just find ways to make it happen. And that's exactly what the Chiefs did. So I definitely got to give a shout out to the Chiefs defense for one, for making it work. And then, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers. Is there a guy who is just more, the one guy who's more not fair than Patrick Mahomes is definitely Aaron Rodgers. He made the Rams defense look so beyond pedestrian. I mean, Aaron Donald at half strength is still better than most defensive linemen in the NFL. Fight me on it. But the fact that, he took full advantage of Aaron Donald being hurt, and that's why the Packers are the Packers, man. So those are my two main takeaways.
Yeah, I want to say something about Andy Reid because the good people of Philadelphia ran him out of town. They decided he wasn't quite good enough, Chad. But I want to talk about talented people that have success, have equity in the world. Andy Reid wins the Super Bowl. If they don't get that 4th and 1, he comes back the next year. Nobody really cares. Nobody lights his ass on fire if they lose that game because they didn't convert the 4th down. Mike Vrabel, he punted on 4th down. Mike Tomlin, he punted on 4th down. Yep. John Harbaugh, he punted on 4th down. Andy Reid has equity. He can do whatever he wants, and he believes in his guys. Yep. So I think that more so than anything should be a lot of coaches, they lose that game. Andy Reid just found a way to win because he's got a lot of nuts, and even if he fails in that situation, he's coming back next year. Nobody's gonna criticize Andy Reid for going for that.
You bring up Andy Reid getting run out of town in Philadelphia. I'm probably one of the only people that still to this day defends Andy Reid and his time here as the Eagles head coach. But look, I'll say it like this. Trey, you're absolutely right. You got to have skin in the game, right? You got to risk it to get the biscuit. And I just think you look at, here's the thing with that Andy Reid call, right? Andy Reid's out there playing Monopoly. Everybody else is playing checkers. Like,
True.
think about it. You have your backup quarterback in the game, and it's 4th and inches. All you got to do is QB sneak it. And he lines up in the shotgun 5 wide.
Yeah.
That's an amazing call. Like, nobody else is out there calling that, but Andy Reid.
Well, it's
Maybe
also
Bill Belichick. I don't know.
well, it's also easy to do when you've got Tyreek Hill, Le'Veon Bell, and who's the other
Travis Kelce.
Yeah, you have Kelsey, you have Watkins, and the running back, the other running back kid. He's got 2 last names.
He wasn't healthy this week.
Okay, cool. But either way, you've got some amazing talent on that offensive end of the ball. Like, seriously, Trent Dilfer could come out of retirement and run this offense to a Super Bowl. That's just how good that offense is.
You're right. And I'm not arguing that. All I'm saying is even Chad Henne's mom didn't think he was throwing that ball. Chad Henne's mom was watching that game like, ain't no way he's letting that motherfucker throw it.
Especially not after that pick. Oh, my God. I'm surprised he didn't get his ass whooped on the sideline.
Chad Henne's mom would have lined that one up and been like, yo, baby, I love you, but you're not throwing this ball.
I love you, baby. But no. No, Mama Henny knows what she got in him. She know what she got.
He was drafted in 2008, too. He runs pretty good for a guy that was drafted that long ago.
Yeah.
That was a big 3rd down run.
Old man Henne.
Hey, it's crazy to me though that Chad Henne came into the league in 2008. I'm older than Chad Henne, and you guys are talking about old man Chad Henne. Thanks. But I'll tell you the
Chad Henne, so.
But what's funny though is that Chad Henne, for all the jokes, because we threw a little bit of shade at him for that interception. I know I threw some shade at him over Twitter on that interception, but you know what? The guy's professional. Even if you're a backup, you don't last long in the NFL unless you're a professional and you can get the job done somehow, some way. In a lot of ways, besides talent, one of the main things that separates a backup quarterback from a starting quarterback is smarts. And the starting quarterbacks are the guys that very rarely make the mistakes. The backups are the guys that, they make mistakes more often than not. And even a guy who's not the best decision maker, he's got the experience where, all right, he screwed up. He can make changes on the fly in game and still be very serviceable. And that's why he's the backup. Plus, Patrick Mahomes going down is so freak that, you don't need a Steve Young behind Joe Montana situation in that regard. You just got to have a guy that's serviceable that's not going to give the game away. And Chad Henne offers you that.
Yeah, I had 2 things on it. Number one, I think we're forgetting how good this team was with Alex Smith. It's not like this team stunk with Alex Smith.
True.
A backup was going to be able to keep them afloat. I also want to talk about the Mahomes thing because I don't know what happened. I feel like he almost got choked out. It didn't look like his head got hit.
Yeah, it was more, I believe it was a pinched nerve in the neck that made it appear as a concussion symptom. He's passed the protocol. It's just a matter of now, is he going to be at full strength?
It reminded me of someone getting rear naked choked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I almost think that's what happened.
I mean, I just want to say, everybody that's saying it's like a dirty hit, like there was no dirty, that's a normal football play.
That is a regular football play. Take it from someone who's I've played semi-pro football and I played a little bit of high school football. That's not dirt. It wasn't dirty. It was just one of those things that happens.
I also wanted to bring up the touchback rule because a lot of Browns fans are mad how the guy was going for the touchdown. The guy was going for the touchdown. The ball goes out of the back of the end zone. I like the rule. And the reason why I like the rule is because so many things favor the offense. You can't touch a receiver. Mm-hmm. The pass interference, you get the ball all the way. Everything goes towards the offense. Can't the defense have one rule in their favor?
I agree. Well, the thing is,
you can't even touch a quarterback anymore. You sneeze on a quarterback, it's a flag.
I know. And I'll tell you the truth, man. I gave Browns fans and I gave the Dog Pound a lot of credit for dealing with the Steelers, but I'll tell you the truth, man. The Browns fans are just going back to what's normal, and that's we're getting screwed. No, you just weren't the best team this time around. Sorry, the 60s have not come back. You're not the dominant franchise in the NFL. Get over it.
I 100% agree. Like I said, and Trey said it outright, so much favors the offense. Let's give the defense one rule.
Yeah, just
They have one. They literally have one rule.
Yeah.
That favors them. We like, think about it. Like Trey said, you get a pass. If you're up by a field goal late in the game, you get one pass interference call, you basically lose the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
On a subjective call.
Right.
And what's going to happen is, I'll give it 5 years. What's going to happen is wide receivers are going to get their way, and they're going to say all the pass interference calls go towards their receiving stats. That's going to happen.
Well, see, this is what makes me. This is what makes me mad about the offense heavy leagues. I still remember the days where you would have games end 7-3. I love defensive struggle games. I love them. Granted, yes, seeing points scored is nice and it's fun, but something? I want to see defense.
Trent Dilfer picked up 4 first downs in the AFC title game to go to the Super Bowl. 4 first downs, the whole game.
Yep.
Well, I remember, what was it, 2015 when the Broncos played the Seahawks? Or was that was the 14 Super Bowl? I remember people telling me like, oh, that game sucked. I'm like, no, you just don't like defense.
Yeah, if you don't like defense, you think it sucks. If you don't like defense, you don't like to see low scoring games. And
I think the Big 12 sucks.
I can't speak to college football. I still don't watch it.
70-73 every week.
Yeah, see, I'm not a fan of that.
No.
I don't like crazy high score. That's why I stopped. That's why I don't like playing sports video games sometimes, because once I figure it out, I'm just like I'm going crazy, and it's not fun. It's ridiculous. I remember I used to like the days when football games especially, they would adjust to your playing style. So as you started getting good, the game would just automatically start to get a little bit harder to make you have to work for it. Now it's just meh, go. And that's
you can't have nice things anymore.
Yeah, and that's the way the NFL is. It's just like, the defense is catching up. Let's throw more rules against the defense. So the only reason why that happened is because of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and to an extent Drew Brees. Drew Brees getting hurt when Manning got hurt toward the end there, and when Brady's knee went out. And matter of fact, and even when Carson Palmer got hit in the AFC wild card game by Kimo von Oelhoffen in the Steelers-Bengals game, that's when they really started cracking down to the point where you can't hit the quarterback. And, then it started going more and more into the pass interference stuff. And it's ridiculous.
I think even this isn't the primary reason, but maybe a small part has to do with fantasy football now, because people want to see their guys score points.
Right.
So how do we make the people interested in the game have people score points?
True.
Well,
very true.
I mean, I think another thing too is like, so some of the rule changes I agree with, like the one where you can't hit the QB below the knee. I think that one's pretty fair, because I mean, I get that. I feel like the one that just kind of doesn't make any sense is the one where, like, if you hit the helmet at all, it's automatic.
It's automatic helmet
yards.
to helmet.
I hate that one.
That's
the head goes where the body follows.
Yeah.
My hand accidentally brushes the back of the quarterback's head, and it's a 15-yard penalty. There has to be like some kind of like intent into it, not just like, oh, it's an accident.
And it's the same with the face mask. And it's the same with face mask too. It should be, if it's intentional, obviously you tack on a 15-yarder, absolutely. But if it's unintentional and it just happens, then you know what? Just give it a 5-yard and leave it at that.
Well,
it doesn't.
They used to do that. They used to do that.
They did. And now it's 15 yards, period. And it's like, come on, man. You
look at that man's face mask. You got to give him the penalty.
It's ridiculous. I hate it. I don't.
I will say, I remember when they changed the force out rule. You remember the force out rule? Where if the guy was in the air and you pushed him out of bounds when he was catching the ball, it was still a catch, even if he didn't defeat him. Yeah. I was happy when they got rid of that rule.
That's a rule that I'm glad they got rid of, because the bottom line is, if your feet ain't in bounds, you're out of bounds. Period. And and if your quarterback leaves you that high and dry that you go up to make a catch and you have no opportunity to complete the motion, that's on your quarterback. The quarterback threw a crappy ball and the defense took advantage of it. So yeah, I'm glad they got rid of that. You hit the nail on the head on that one.
Can we shift to Aaron Rodgers for a second? Because I know Brian brought this up, but I mentioned this line on my other show, That's Some Cheese, and I try not to steal stuff from there, but I feel like this one kind of fits. I'm not just looking for good writers or good bloggers. I like good personalities. I want people that walk through this door and say they're the 1% of the 1%. That's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Every single week he walks on that field and he thinks and he knows that he's better than you.
Oh,
and it's so much fun to watch. He's the only guy for, 12 years in a row. He just chucked his head coach the middle finger and said, I'm not listening to you. And where's Mike McCarthy now? I'm not even sure Matt LaFleur's intelligent, but he's 28-6 as a head coach in the NFL.
Because he's smart enough to listen to Aaron Rodgers. I said it on Twitter, and I'll say it here. If Aaron Rodgers had a competent GM and a competent head coach, Tom Brady doesn't have 6 Super Bowl rings. He has maybe 3. Aaron Rodgers has the other 2. They split those. If Green Bay put the right talent around Aaron Rodgers, he's got 3 Super Bowl rings on his hand. Period.
I think there was a couple of years where Rodgers just shut it down.
I don't even think, honestly, I don't even think it'll have anything to do with talent. I feel like if you give him a competent coach, if he's not dealing with Mike McCarthy for, 11 years?
Yeah.
Right?
Think of how bad Dallas got this year. We thought Jason Garrett was a bad head coach.
Oh, my God.
Jason Garrett's now an upgrade.
But my thing is look at outside of Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, it's not like that Green Bay offense has a bunch of studs on it.
Yeah.
Alan Lazard dropped at least 4 balls this week.
But I even bring up the fact that the Packers, they gave up a good bit of change to get Jimmy Graham in there, and Jimmy Graham didn't do nothing. How do you go in there to be a target to one of the greatest QBs of all time, and you do absolutely nothing? You're completely useless on that offense.
Robert Tunyon's better than him now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Jimmy Graham at that point was just shot. But
you're more kind than you're more kind than I am. I'm ready to throw him under 3 or 4 buses.
He had to play for Mike McCarthy. I feel like that's punishment enough.
That's true. I think Mike McCarthy probably thinks his last name is Hortense and they're like a hockey team, but it's like, you're just not getting the job done, buddy. You suck.
I don't see how Dallas didn't fire him.
Because it's one of the same reasons, honestly. I think that, now granted, when I say this, don't think I'm comparing Mike McCarthy to Mike Tomlin. I'm not. McCarthy is not a good coach. Mike Tomlin is at least a good coach. But I think that Jerry Jones doesn't, as nuts as Jerry Jones is, he doesn't want to do that coaching carousel because
he's very patient.
It makes your franchise look like crap if you do this coaching carousel every 3 years. So
well,
I think he gives Mike McCarthy at least another 2 or 3 years before he finally gets rid of him.
I think if anything, it's more that Jerry Jones just wants a guy that he can control.
Oh, he loves
Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's a perfect stooge here.
That's a good point by you.
I would rather have Chip Kelly as my head coach than Mike fucking McCarthy.
Wow.
But think about this, though.
Wow.
Jerry Jones kept Dave Campo around for 3 years. And that guy was a positional coach and never was a coordinator. Jerry's overly patient. He kept Jason Garrett around forever.
Way too long.
Can we just stop? Can we just stop for a second and just acknowledge how toxic Mike McCarthy is? We started out talking about Aaron Rodgers, and now we're talking about
now we're on Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is the rich
That's
co-type.
how toxic he is. That's how toxic Mike McCarthy is.
Mike McCarthy is the rich co-type of this era. Okay.
That's just mean.
It is. But the problem is, though, is that Mike McCarthy, even if he washes out, he'll get a job someplace else, probably as a position coach if he wants it. Just like Bill O'Brien will end up being like a position coach somewhere if he wants it.
I think he's going to get the Bama offensive coordinator job. Nick
You reckon?
Saban loves the rejects. Turns them into winners. He got drunk Steve Sarkisian, the head coach at University of Texas, and he was drunk every day at USC. That's why they fired him.
I think if I had to be a college football coach, though, I'd probably be drunk all the time too. I mean, let's be honest, especially if you're in the USC program. I mean, come on, you're coaching a bunch of kids that are football genetic freaks in Southern California. You've got to stay drunk to be able to deal with that nonsense. You got to.
I want to hear your thoughts on Jared Goff, because finally it looks like Sean McVay's getting tired of him. and I said this, it's one thing to have Jared Goff as your quarterback. It's another thing to pay him $36.5 million.
Jared Goff is probably, oh boy. You know, there's not a lot of guys that I would put in this category, but Jared Goff is definitely up there. Jared Goff is just Ryan Leaf. If Ryan Leaf actually knew how to interact with people.
I think Ryan Leaf was more talented.
I agree. The only reason why Ryan Leaf flamed out the way he did is because he had all those issues and didn't know how to talk to people. If Jared Goff blows up like Ryan Leaf does, Jared Goff was out of the league a long time ago. Jared Goff is terrible. I'd rather have Matt Stafford as my franchise quarterback than Jared Goff.
When I did my draft notes on Jared Goff, I don't know if you'll remember this guy, but I compared him to the old Ravens quarterback, Kyle Bowler.
I remember Kyle
He's just
Bowler.
an absolute mess.
I remember Kyle Bowler very well. We loved him so much here in Pittsburgh.
I'm sure you did.
Oh, we loved him. Loved. I mean, honestly, here's the problem with Jared Goff. Remember how I said that it's not just about talent, it's about having the smarts. Jared Goff has the physical tools. He just doesn't have the smarts. He can't seem to put it all together. You want to talk?
My God.
You want to talk about a guy who's laughing all the way to the bank? I don't know. I mean, and I'm sure Trey, you'll pick up on this. Big Cat Ernie Ladd used to always say that King Kong Bundy was stealing money from promoters because of how bad he was, but everyone spent money to see him. That's Jared Goff right there. He stole Rams money. He stole that money.
Yeah, I said this maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't know if there's a quarterback in the league that gets away with more murders than Jared Goff. It just feels like he's untouchable and nobody criticizes him ever.
I think it's hilarious that Brian brought up Jared Goff not being like mentally there. I remember his rookie year when they were on Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Or was that his second year in the league?
I think it was his rookie year.
It was his rookie year with Jeff Fisher.
Yeah. Oh my God. Talk about, like, I've never, like, reality TV wise, I don't think I've ever watched someone dumber than Jared Goff. He was
talking about the way the sun rises or something.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, when
I forget
he was
what happened.
in the helicopter. He was in the helicopter and he was saying something fucking stupid. I don't remember what it was, but I do know what you're talking about.
Oh man. I don't understand how. I don't understand just because the guy has one good year, now you're just going to like break bank on him. Like with the money that you're paying him, you could have so many additional offensive weapons. They may not be sexy names.
I think he has good weapons.
I mean, he does have good weapons. Absolutely. Well, maybe not even on the offense. Maybe you could have more people on the defense. So Aaron Donald doesn't have to basically be made of steel every single year.
They could use a linebacker. That's for sure.
But no, now, honestly, if Sean McVay's getting tired of him, I guarantee you what'll probably happen is that if they finally pull the trigger and get rid of Jared Goff and eat all that cap money, they're going to have a rough time for a couple of years, but the franchise overall will be better off.
Yeah. I didn't bring this up on That's Some Cheese. I want to ask Brian this, and I know he read this article. Kurt Warner came from the clouds and was like, the Bills weren't the better team on Sunday. They won because of the wind. All playoff games need to be played indoors. Talk about the weakest take maybe ever. And I know Chad hates Kurt Warner, so I really wanted to hear this from him.
Go ahead,
I
Chad.
hate him. He's just overrated. Like he's not a Hall of Famer. Or if maybe you want to put him in a Hall of Fame. I don't care. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Put him in a grocery baggers Hall of Fame, maybe.
Yeah, like, look, I'm not taking anything away from what Kurt Warner has done in his life. I just get this out there real quick because obviously dude's had an amazing life. Like the struggle he's overcome, crazy. But as a quarterback, like we romanticize Kurt Warner when he was in the league, and with the exception of like 2 years with the Rams. When did you ever think to yourself, holy shit, this Kurt Warner guy's really fucking good?
He had one good year in Arizona. That's about it, too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're telling me 3 years of being good gets this guy in the Hall of Fame. And
Absolutely
it wasn't even that Kurt Warner. It wasn't even that Kurt Warner was good. It's because
Arizona had a good
who
team.
the fuck are you going to cover? Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk.
Right. And when Arizona went to the Super Bowl against the Steelers, dude, Larry Fitzgerald was on another plane of existence. Like for those years, man, Larry Fitzgerald was doing things that weren't physically possible. He was Megatron. He was Megatron before Megatron was Megatronin.
So the crazy, you see that meme? Sometimes you'll see it with like quarterbacks where it's like their eyes are closed and it's like, fuck it. So-and-so receiver's got to be over there somewhere.
Just throw it. Yep.
Yeah. That was Arizona's offense that year.
Yes.
Fuck it.
Because it was Anquan Bolton, Larry Fitzgerald, and I don't remember who else, but those are the two names.
There's another one that was over 1,000 yards that year. I know who you're talking about. But that was their offense. Fuck it. Anquan's over there somewhere. Fuck it. Larry's over there somewhere.
Yep.
Like he wasn't.
And my offensive line is going to keep me clean to just figure it out.
And in the middle of his career, after he played for the Rams, he went to the New York Giants
and
before he went to the Cardinals, and he sucked
the place and stunk it up.
And that was an outside stadium, so
he got benched for Eli Manning in like week 2.
So he likes the dome with the Rams, he likes the dome with the Cardinals, but can't play outside with the Giants.
Mm-hmm. I will call Kurt Warner what I called the Steelers in that loss to the Browns. SAWFT. Soft. Completely soft. You know what? No. Because I'll tell you something right now. I love seeing football games when it's raining. When I do decide to play Madden is only when it's free to download off of EA Access. When it's raining in the game, I get excited. When I was playing football, I loved it when it was raining. I love it when it's snowing. I love it when the elements are involved because now there's more strategy behind the games.
And the
football weather.
The craziest part was it was windy. That's it.
Just windy. And
So,
you know what? If you're good enough, the win doesn't matter. Back in the 80s, Bears, Eagles, no one could see each other, and they still got the job done.
That was bullshit, too, by the way. We would have won the Super Bowl that year if it wasn't for the fog ball. Just saying.
You know what? I'm going to have to go ahead and shrug my shoulders and be like, yeah, but the Bears.
I will say this. I don't know if I can necessarily criticize Kurt Warner too much on the take here because it's not like there's not a basis for it in the NFL. I mean, think about it. The Super Bowl every year, it's played on a neutral field where it's always played somewhere where there's more than likely going to be really nice weather. It's never played in like Minnesota.
It's one game a year, though. It's not the entire playoffs.
Right.
Well, no. I'm not saying he's 100% right. I'm just saying that, I mean, you can make a case that there's a precedence here set by the league. I don't agree with this take.
I still say that the top seeded team, the game should be played on their home field. That's all I have to say. That's the way it should be. I get that it's not, but it should be.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back with one of our sponsors.
Hey, you. Yeah, you.
In case you hadn't heard, your favorite Renegade Sports Media Group has its own Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media to support our efforts to continuously bring you sports, gaming, and other media coverage as only we can. We've got 4 different membership tiers. For $3 a month, we'll give you a simple thank you on our Patreon site. For $6 a month, you get a thank you and you get to become a recruit in Jackson Law's Vendetta University Gaming Series. For $10 a month, you get everything from the previous tiers, a special thank you at the end of our videos, free access to our upcoming Discord chat, and a free koozie after 4 months. And then the big dog, $50 a month, gets you everything from the previous tiers, as well as opportunities for Fantasy League invites, stream gaming, possible invites to mock NFL and NBA draft sessions, a once-a-month Google Hangout, and after 4 months, a free t-shirt. Yeah! Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media and help us to improve our pledge to bring you the best sports, gaming, and other media coverage.
All right, we're back. And I do want to shift to the Bills game real quick because I know Kurt Warner said the better team didn't win, but Buffalo's been better than Baltimore all year.
Buffalo is definitely Buffalo has definitely emerged as cream of the crop in the AFC as a whole, and they deserve their number 2 spot. They more than did. Josh Allen has come such a long way. I know, Trey, you're a big Josh Allen guy. I've been definitely hoping for big things out of Josh Allen since he went in there because, and it's weird to me, I think the reason why I've been wanting the Bills to succeed is because I hate the Patriots. So I want the Bills to be good.
They also have an awesome fan base.
Yeah, Bills Mafia is such an amazing fan base. I love them to death. I can't, like, there's a lot of fan bases. I can say a lot of negative stuff about Steelers Nation because there's a lot of Yinzers in Steelers Nation that just don't have the brain cells to rub together for a chipped ham sandwich. But it's hard for me to say anything bad against the Bills Mafia. I mean, they do silly stuff, but it's crazy fan base stuff. It's like they bring a college fandom atmosphere to the NFL, and that's what the NFL needs.
It's the only team they have outside of the hockey team, too.
Yeah, the Sabres and I'm sorry, the Buffalo Sabres are they're there.
I do think this game, and I hope for the love of God, people will stop doing this. I hope this ended the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen debate because those two are not close.
Here's the problem that I have. And it comes from a long systemic issue in the NFL. And I'm going to go there. The systemic racism in the NFL that every time there's a black quarterback, they expect him to change positions. The thing is, Lamar Jackson is a Michael Vick style quarterback. He runs first, throws later. And that type of quarterback is not successful. How many Super Bowls does Michael Vick have? None. How many does Michael Vick have a lot of impressive numbers? Absolutely he does. But that style of play is not going to get you there. And the thing is, Lamar Jackson is smart. Lamar Jackson has a cannon for an arm. Lamar Jackson can throw the ball, but he is run first. And that's something that needs to change. It's not that Lamar Jackson is a bad quarterback. Far from it. But you've got to put an offensive line in front of him so he doesn't have to make plays with his feet. And make him start using those receivers.
I still think, and I know Chad has disagreed with me, I still think Michael Vick, the talent, is more talented than Lamar Jackson. I think if we go back and look at those Falcons teams, he elevated the Falcons beyond where they should have been. This Baltimore team's pretty good. I think this Ravens team's really good. And he's got running. Think about this. Mark Ingram was a healthy scratch. Doesn't make the team. Nobody has Mark Ingram as a healthy scratch. This Ravens team's awesome. Their defense did a hell of a job against Buffalo. Mm-hmm. A lot of quarterbacks win that game. They gave up 17 to Buffalo. A really awesome offense. The offense for Baltimore just scored 3 points. And I don't want to hear all the kicker missed a field goal. Both kickers missed field goals.
Well,
absolutely.
Baltimore's offense did score a touchdown. Lamar threw it.
That's I see what you did there.
That's a good. Honestly, I think what they need to do is they need to get an offensive coordinator in there that basically sits Lamar Jackson down and say, look, man, you're the quarterback. So now it's time for you to start playing like a quarterback. Running needs to be your third or fourth option, and they need to work on that with him.
I just don't think that's – I think they've catered this offense to the point where they want him to run the football, though, because they know over the course – if he throws the ball 40 times, they're not going to win. I think they know that.
Well, see, and that's the problem. No quarterback should have to throw the ball over 40 times. That's why you have a running game.
He's got that.
And if you've got Mark Ingram as your lead back,
healthy scratch Mark Ingram.
Yeah, you should be running Mark Ingram like crazy. Mark Ingram should be getting 20 to 25 carries a game. Lamar Jackson should be throwing between 20 to 30, maybe 20 on the low side, 30 on the upside times a game, and work it that way. That's the problem with the NFL is that everyone's going for this flashiness. And this is why I'm flipping out on everyone I see on Twitter saying, oh, the Steelers need to get Najee Harris and blah, blah, blah. No, what you need to do, and I'm saying this for any team, you shore up your offensive line and your defensive line. When you have those things locked down, you can do other stuff. If you have a good offensive line, you can have Trent Dilfer look like Tom Brady. If you have a good offensive line that can pass block and run block there in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson flourishes and becomes a full-scale passer instead of a running quarterback.
I think their offensive line's pretty good, though. J.K. Dobbins led the league as a rookie in yards per carry. It's hard to do that as a rookie. I don't think their line's a problem. Ronnie Stanley went down, and he's an awesome left tackle, and Marshall Yonder retired. But I still think it's a very competent offensive line. I just believe that Lamar Jackson isn't close to Deshaun Watson. He's not close to Josh Allen. I just think we've overstated his talent. And I think if he's drafted by the Jets, we're having a different conversation about Lamar Jackson.
He's Geno Smith 2.0.
That's my sort of thought process on it, because
I can get down with that.
I think he's been in a position that he can succeed, and it's the only reason why he's got an MVP trophy because of it.
I can dance to the tune you're playing on that one. I can.
J.K. Dobbins led the league in yards per carry as a rookie.
Yeah. I seriously think that the offense needs to stop catering to the run first mentality for the quarterback. You know, honestly, do I think Lamar Jackson should be the quarterback? Yeah. If he wants to switch positions, it should be his choice. But it shouldn't even be a question. He should continue to, play the position of quarterback. But the problem is that the coaching has to stop catering to this run first mentality. He's got to be a passer. He's got the talent to be a passer. He's just got to do it.
Pure arm strength is not the question. The accuracy is the question.
Exactly. And that's what they need to be working on. Give him like 2 weeks to rest up his body. And then he needs to be in there working on his accuracy. Get the tires out. Start throwing through the tires, man. Make it happen. Put him through the Steamin' Willie Beeman training. Let's do this.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a partially black man myself, I get where Brian's coming from with the systemic, like, let's face it. I think black quarterbacks, they have to be better in some instances than white quarterbacks. Cause it's like, I'll tell you a story. I was living in Pennsylvania a few years ago, and I was working at a gas station. It was right before that Super Bowl we talked about earlier, where the Seattle Seahawks played the Broncos. And I asked the guy, I was like, hey, the guy came into the gas station I was working at. He's checking out. I was like, hey, who do you think's going to win? Just making small talk as the cashier. And he tells me, well, I think the Broncos are going to win because there's never been a black guy that's won the Super Bowl before as a quarterback.
So now, we don't know anything about Doug Williams, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was like. Oh, no, actually, it was the year after Russell Wilson won.
Mm-hmm.
It was the year after that. He said it about Cam Newton.
Gotcha.
And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson won it last year, and and Doug Williams won it like in the 80s with the Redskins. And he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Dude, it happened last year." "Yeah, I'm sure." Like
Russell Wilson's awesome.
Russell Wilson
Right.
is amazing.
But my point is, I feel like Brian's right. Yes, do black quarterbacks get held to a different standard than some of their white counterparts? Yes. But I feel like Trey kind of hit it on the head here. I don't necessarily think that's what's happening with Lamar Jackson. I do agree that he has the accuracy issues. But I mean, that could be fixed. And I'm not going to be a liar and say that I was thinking great things were going to come from Lamar Jackson when he came into the draft. I wasn't high on him. But then they set their offense up in a way that catered to his skill set, and it worked for him.
Right. Well, I do want to say that the reason why I bring that up, though, is because you remember when he came out and everyone's talking about, oh, he needs to change positions and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, he doesn't. The guy can play the position. I have seen him in games where he has had to drop back to throw, go through his progressions, and make a throw. He can do it. He just needs to do it. And he needs to focus on that. If Lamar Jackson can take his game to a level of he can play like a legit passer, and when the play breaks down and he does have to run, and he can just tuck the ball and go, he's gone. But if he can take his game to the level where he becomes an elite passer, like Cam Newton was starting to before he was getting hurt, like Russell Wilson has done, if he can model his game along Russell Wilson's game, dude, Baltimore is practically unstoppable.
I'm with you. I know, but that's a big if. It's like we're talking about, it's like you can train your mechanics and you can get better as a passer, but I mean, you can only get so much better. If it was that easy to just get your accuracy that good, everybody in the league would be looking like Aaron Rodgers. So again, I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying that's a big if.
I would trade him for the Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields tomorrow.
But I do agree with you, Brian. If he can fix the accuracy, it would be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It would be. But that is a major and a very big if.
What I'm terrified is
have to see.
His contract's coming up. Their team's good now. What does their team look like if you're giving him $40 million a year?
Ooh, then
that's what I'm terrified.
The coaching of Harbaugh's coaching comes to light more, and
because
some of the deficiencies.
If people think their team's not good now, it's not going to be better when they're paying him $40 million a year.
No, honestly, I seriously don't think that he makes $40 million a year because granted, yeah, he has an MVP, but he's only won one playoff game, and he falls apart in the playoffs.
If Jared Goff gets $36.5 million a year, I got a hard time believing he'll get less.
That's a good point. That's something else, though. A lot of these contracts just get so out of control.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. I understand quarterback's a very, very important position. It's the position of positions. But $40 million a year? Like, how are you supposed to build a team around that? Oh, let's just up the salary cap. Oh, great. Now you're causing even more issues. It's ridiculous. It's insane. It's insane to me. I don't like it.
Let's move to the Bucks Saints game because I know Chad disagreed with me coming into the week. I picked Tampa for the sole reason that New Orleans just didn't beat them twice during the year. The second time they played them, they humiliated them. And I just thought that there's just no way you're going to beat this team 3 times in a row. Tom Brady, and I don't think Tom Brady won the game by himself, but I think it goes to show that Drew Brees has nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing left compared to Tom Brady.
I wouldn't even say Tom Brady won the game.
The Saints
lost. The Saints lost the game. The Bucks did not win the game.
Yeah, I agree, but I think when you're comparing those two again on the same field, Brady looks so much better.
Yeah, he does. Brady looks younger. His throws are more crisp. I think that Drew Brees, I mean, how much is that shoulder
It just doesn't look the
coming
same.
apart? No, he doesn't. And I think Drew retiring, I mean, honestly, he hasn't said anything officially yet as of Wednesday, the 20th, but he's done. If Phillip Rivers, who made his retirement official today, January 20th, if he's making it official, then you know Drew Brees is right around the corner. I mean, how much is that surgically repaired shoulder going to be able to do? I mean, come on.
It's pulling teeth getting him to throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field at this point.
Well, I think it was they said it at one point in the third quarter. The only play where the only targeted pass play that went more than like 15 yards during that game
was from Winston.
Well, at least for the Saints, was from Winston. And then it was funny because they said the same thing about they said something similar about the Bucks, but it was at that point Tom Brady was 1 for 5 passes over 20 yards. So like at least the Bucks were trying.
Right.
Like they were like, hey, it's not working, but at least we got to keep these guys honest. You know what I'm saying?
That game did not look like I thought it was going to look. I thought it was going to look like two Lions, you know, two all-time greats duking it out. I think that's the game we get this Sunday. But that game just looked the one bright spot for the Saints that I saw in that game. Do we think that Jameis Winston could be the starter?
Yes.
Next year? And
yes.
How dangerous is he going to be now
Very.
that he's had a year to sit behind a GOAT? And now he can see. Now the man can see.
Yeah,
I've been saying this forever. I've been saying this forever. We talked about Lamar Jackson. I would trade Lamar Jackson for Jameis Winston today.
I would trade Ben Roethlisberger, James Conner, and the first-round pick for Jameis Winston. I wanted the Steelers to take Jameis Winston when he was a free agent last year. And when they didn't sign him, I was pissed.
He's going to be awesome there.
He is.
I would trade Howie Roseman for Jameis Winston right now.
I would go back in time and trade Howie Long for Jameis Winston.
Yeah, but one thing I do wanted to say is, Brian, you were like, we thought we were going to get 2 Lions duking it out. Yeah, everybody was like, oh, this is Ali Frazier. It was more like Roy Jones Jr.
Mike
Tyson.
Yes.
So,
that was just terrible.
The other line on the field was Devin White. Number 45 is the best player in the field.
Is a beast. I said this on the most recent Tanndemonium Sports Show, is that so much fanfare came out. Well, who's going to be the best, Devin White or Devin Bush? And I'll tell you the truth, they are still 1-1. They're still neck and neck. If Devin Bush doesn't get hurt, the Steelers look a lot different. Devin Bush and Devin White they are the future of the middle linebacker game in the NFL.
Yeah.
They are the future. The future's arrived. It's these two guys. Dude, Devin White was just, oh my!
I'll have to show you my draft notes. I had him as the single best player in the draft that year.
I seriously think that Devin White, on the NFC side of the ball, he is gonna be like old school, like 80s. Like he's gonna be like the new Lawrence Taylor of the NFC. That's what Devin Bush is gonna be doing in the AFC. That's what Devin White's gonna be doing in the NFC. And I can't wait to see the more that he develops, because that interception was just a thing of beauty.
I think he reminded me a lot of
take it a step.
The old Bucks linebacker, Derek Brooks.
Thank you.
Derek Brooks. Yeah,
yes.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
I'll take it a step further. With what Brian said, as far as that is concerned, I think even if you take out the interception, he's like low key still the MVP of that game.
Yeah.
At least defensively.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because he was all over the field. I mean, the only shot the Saints had to win that game was running the ball with Alvin Kamara. Yeah, they weren't getting that started anytime Devin White was on the field.
Hey, don't worry. The Oakland Raiders decided Devin White wasn't good enough for them. They took Cleveland Farrell instead.
Well, the Las Vegas Raiders, not the smartest team in the world. I mean, come on. How much money did they give Jamarcus Russell?
You can take the Raiders out of Oakland, but you can't take the Oakland out of the Raiders.
Hey, careful. You don't want to insult our our lady VP there, because she's in Oakland. She's in Oakland. She's from Oakland originally.
Oh,
but you're right. But you're not wrong.
Let's wrap up and get some predictions for the conference championship game. Bucks Packers. Brian, Chad, what do you got?
Go ahead, Chad. I'm the guest here. You got it.
I don't think it's a question. I think Packers hands down. If you look at the offense that the Bucks put onto the field against the Saints, I think they had maybe one drive that they got points on that didn't start on the Saints side of the field. Green Bay's not turning the ball over like that. They might not score. Think about it. All of their touchdowns came on interceptions or fumble recoveries.
Yeah.
I think they had 2 field goals that they got outside of the turnovers. So there's no way in hell I'm taking the Bucks. And it's in Green Bay. You think Tom Brady's arm is going to hold up in Green Bay?
I agree with you 150%. All right, yeah. The Bucks got past the Saints. They got past an aging Drew Brees. You got Aaron Rodgers you're coming into Aaron Rodgers' house. You're going into Lambeau. And I'm telling you right now, as great as we were just talking about Devin White is, Aaron Rodgers is going to pick that defense apart. Dude, Devontae Adams is just going to be all over the field. The ball's not even going to go near Devin White. And the bottom line is that Green Bay, they're going to the Super Bowl. Period. And where I said that, and you're going to find out in this game, where I said that if Aaron Rodgers has more competent coaching, Tom Brady doesn't have as many rings, you're going to see why on Sunday. And Tom Brady needs to thank his lucky stars that Aaron Rodgers was never in the AFC, because he definitely wouldn't have those rings, because Aaron Rodgers is just that damn good. Fight me.
Totally agree. I'm taking Green Bay. I think Green Bay is going to the Super Bowl. This is going to go down as the ultimate fuck you tour. Oh, you guys think Jordan Love's better than me? Okay, I'll show you.
Oh man.
I hope that I do want Buffalo to win, but if Buffalo's not in the Super Bowl, I hope Green Bay wins it. And then the following day, Aaron Rodgers goes to the parade and says, I'm requesting a trade. You're stuck with Jordan Love. Good luck. That's my hope.
Is it just me, or is it just seem like Green Bay, this is like the second time in 20 years that they've had something like this happen. It happened with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and now it's happening with Jordan Love. Thing is, though, Aaron Rodgers has done just fine despite all that. So I think Jordan Love will be just fine. I think Jordan Love will probably, I don't know that much about the kid, but
I don't think he's very good.
Fair enough. I don't care who comes out from the AFC. Aaron Rodgers is getting that elusive second ring. I don't care. It's the Packers. I'm picking the Packers the whole way through.
Bills, Chiefs. Brian, what do you got?
If Patrick Mahomes is 100%, Chiefs eke it out. And when I say eke it out, I mean because that Buffalo defense is just sick. Oh my God, that defense is sick. They eke it just barely. If he's not 100%, Josh Allen is just going to be destroying this Chiefs defense. So as it stands right now, I'm looking in my internal crystal ball. I say the Bills find a way to get through this. I really do. I think that Patrick Mahomes is not going to be 100%. Josh Allen is on this FU tour saying everyone that says that I'm not a franchise quarterback, screw you. Stephon Diggs is just in another time zone right now. Everyone else is in Mountain Time. He's in Eastern Standard Time and getting the job done. So, yeah, even though last night I believe I said the same thing. If Patrick Mahomes is 100%, the Chiefs eke it out. If not, it's the Bills game. But yeah, I think that part of me thinks that it's going to be the Bills because Mahomes isn't going to be healthy.
This game's so fascinating to me because I'm a big NFL draft nerd. I always follow the roster moves and stuff. The Bills traded back with the Chiefs, allowing the Chiefs to get Patrick Mahomes. And the Bills moved down, and the guy they picked is Tre'Davious White, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And they got an extra first-round pick from Kansas City that was used to acquire Josh Allen. So this game to me is, wow, the domino effect from both of these teams. Just one trade turned them into superpowers. And I don't know if you can really say that either team lost the trade.
Well, you know who I think is really going to be having some sour grapes on this is the Bears, because they took Mitch Trubisky. They had a chance to have both of them. They took Mitch Trubisky. I love it.
I think with this game, as much as I want to see the Bills Mafia go to the Super Bowl here, I gotta ride with my man Andy Reid. I think offensively, Andy Reid just on a different level. Ultimately, I do think Patrick Mahomes' health is going to play a large, role in whether or not they win. I think the Bills, they definitely have the better defense of the two teams, but I don't know, man. I just think Andy Reid, he's a schemer. And I know from my time when he was with the Eagles, he's got tricks up his sleeve. You can watch a whole season of Andy Reid football, and come playoff time, there's a whole list of plays you never saw before. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs because I don't think we've seen Andy Reid's best this year.
Yeah, another interesting side note, Sean McDermott was the assistant for Andy Reid in Philadelphia. So that throws a little interesting wrinkle into the mix too.
There's just a lot of storylines this coming weekend of football.
Kansas City did beat Buffalo earlier in the year too. So
this is just going to be an amazing game. Honestly, I love seeing the number 1 and number 2 seeds play each other in the championship. I love it because that just means that you're going to have some good stuff brewing. I can't wait.
But, all right. Thank you, Bryan, for coming on the show. Chad, do you got anything else?
No. Okay. Yeah, I got something else. You didn't tell us who you think is going to win.
Oh,
yeah, I got something else.
Oops.
I'll go Bills Mafia, but I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it at all.
Thinks he's slick trying to get out of here without a win.
Oh, so that means that if the Bills do start losing big, I'm going to be tweeting at Trey because everyone knows I live tweet the games from the Tanndemonium Twitter feed, Tanndemonium V. I'm always tweeting from there. So if they're losing, I'm like, Trey, what's going on with your guys? What's up, Trey? What's going on with your guys?
Look, I'll say this right now. Obviously, I don't have a dog in this fight. I do want Andy Reid to get a second Super Bowl here. I think if Andy Reid gets a second ring, no question, he's got to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, see,
First ballot guy.
I'm afraid for Andy Reid to get a second Super Bowl ring, and here's why. Because if he wears it on his other hand, then now he's got double the chance of losing his teeth biting into a burger because he bit down too far.
Let him have it. He's got the money to replace those teeth. He don't need them.
True. That's a good point. That's true. And only reason why I'm making fun of Andy Reid about eating his burgers is because I can't have the burgers. So I got to make fun of him for being able to have them.
Well, he makes fun of himself. He pokes fun of himself. I think
and I do like Andy Reid.
After they won the Super Bowl last year, they asked him like what he did, to celebrate. And he was like, yeah, I had like a cheeseburger or something like that. Or he's like, I spent the night with a cheeseburger or something. He said something like that.
I do like Andy Reid. I won't lie. I do like Andy Reid. I think he's one of the good guys in the NFL. He really is. I'll tell you the truth though. Now let me ask you guys this before we go real quick, because I brought this up on the Tanndemonium Sports Show and I want to get your guys' take. Eric Bieniemy, do you think that he might just be waiting to be the heir apparent to Andy Reid? and because he's the offensive coordinator of a team that has Patrick Mahomes, do you think he actively truly wants a head coaching gig, or do you think he's just comfortable where he's at?
I don't know. I just feel like it's so hard to know who's going to work and who's not going to work. Like the Jets are all fired up about Robert Saleh. How do you know he's good? Their team's good. Or in San Francisco it was. They got the Bosa, Fred Warner, Richard Sherman. Their roster's awesome. So I don't know how good he is.
That's true.
The Eagles hired Doug Peterson. Nobody's happy. He was the Chiefs offensive coordinator. He got fired. I just don't know how you know. And the guy deserves a job. I just don't know how you know unless you're interviewing him.
I hear you.
That wasn't the question, but fair answer.
I just don't know how you know.
I mean, I think
He deserves a job, but every single day he goes to work, he got Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid, who is really the play designer.
I will say this. I think that I don't necessarily think he's waiting. And obviously, maybe I could be wrong. I don't know Andy Reid personally. I think it would be awesome, but I don't know what he's planning. You know, how long he wants to stay and coach in the NFL. So, I mean, it's possible. He's maybe had that conversation with Andy, like, hey, dog, how long are you going to be coaching for? You know? But I don't think Andy has any plans to retire anytime soon. So if I'm Eric Bieniemy, I think I'm just ready, like, hey, let me get my shot. Not with the Texans or the Eagles, because they kind of suck. But let me get my shot somewhere.
I wouldn't coach for the Tex. Even if the Texans called me right now and said, Bryan, we love your work with the Tanndemonium Sports Show. We think that you would make a great GM and head coach of the Houston Texans. I'm like, no. I'll live with the student loan debt.
I said the same thing. I turned their job down.
You figured that Deshaun Watson thing out yet? Is he gonna say? Maybe I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, who knows? I guess maybe if I went in as the GM, he'd be like, all right, well, we'll give him a chance. We'll give him a chance.
Yeah,
think about how bad their team has to be. They won 4 games.
But it's not even the worst record in the NFL though. But they're like no one wants they got Urban Meyer to come into the NFL, and he was all for going to Jacksonville. Everyone's like, hey, you want to coach at Houston? No, it's cool.
Well, I mean, they won 4 games. Imagine if they didn't have Watson. They would have won
0 games.
Yeah, they'd have been 0-16.
All right. That seems. Any other closing thoughts? Anyone? Open mic right now.
Oh man, I definitely want to say, please make sure you go to joshgibson.org and sign the petition so that the Major League Baseball MVP is changed to the Josh Gibson Memorial Award. Hashtag JG20 MVP. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, and we're happy to have Bryan on the show because I know Chad loves him. Every single day that he's up at 4 a.m. drinking on a Friday, he's watching Tanndemonium. I can promise you that.
Yes.
I'm surprised he didn't pick up on my pop culture reference that I made earlier.
What was it?
When I said he thinks his last name is Hortense and they're playing hockey. That was a Goon reference from the movie Goon, you know.
I've seen that movie. I didn't. Who's Hortense?
He was the coach. He was the coach of the Halifax team. Your boy Tig Traeger from Sons of Anarchy plays him.
Okay. Yeah,
that was a little.
That's obscure. A good movie.
Yeah, that was a little bit of
sequel kind of sucked, but the
sequel
first
was
one
horrible.
was really good.
The sequel was horrible. I definitely prefer the first one. But I will say this though, I wonder if not Deshaun Watson, if Lamar, I tell you who I think could get Lamar Jackson to be a very, very accurate quarterback. Paul Blake, arm of the Armadillos. Get Scott Bakula in that coaching room and make it happen. Because if he can lead the Texas State Fighting Armadillos to win against the by God #1 Texas Colts, he can get Lamar Jackson to be a legit passer.
What is that? That's is that necessary roughness?
Yes, it is. Good on you.
Yes. All right. Well, my bromance with Mr. Tann aside, it looks like that's going to be the end of this show. Thanks everybody for watching. Again, Bryan, thanks for coming on the show, even though I planned this terribly. Trey didn't even know about it until like 30 seconds before we were gonna record yesterday.
Well, it's all right. I forgot today. I told Trey. Trey sends me the link, and I'm like, crap, I totally forgot.
Well, so yeah. Anyway, if you haven't already, go give us money on Patreon. We're still working on the $70 Fight a Vendetta Writer of Your Choice tier. I'm a big believer in that. So if you want to strap on the boxing
He's pushing
gloves,
for that tier.
you gotta request it. Oh, I'm just full of violence.
Hey, I'm all for that. I'm all for it.
Give us money on Patreon. If you're watching this video on YouTube, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, love the channel. That way you can see all of Jackson's videos. You can check out the Tanndemonium Sports Show. Everything else we got going on. Go to Twitter and follow the main page, Vendetta_media. Check that out. That way you get all the articles, all the videos, everything gets posted there. You can check out our Instagram page, like us on Facebook. We're all over social media. We're working on a LinkedIn page. We haven't gotten it yet, but it might get there. That's a joke. It's not real. We're not
You see Trey's face. He goes, really? That's news to me.
That's why I said it, because I saw him look at the camera. I don't know, Bryan, your Twitter handle off the top of my head, so I'll let you go ahead and shout that out.
Bryan Tann author.
No, at Tanndemonium is the official Tanndemonium Sports Show page. Or if you want to follow me personally, see what I'm doing as far as my writing, my thoughts, and all that. Yeah, Bryan Tann, author.
And again, like Bryan told you to do earlier in the show, go sign the petition. We want to get Josh Gibson to be the MVP trophy in baseball named after him. Also, what's the hashtag again, Bryan?
Hashtag JG20MVP.
All right, good job. Other than that, follow Trey at Trey Daubert. Follow me at LittleFooted. Thanks for giving us a watch or a listen. See you next week.